Hi, I'm Joy Perry, and I'm a member of the Wild Ones Fox Valley Area Chapter, and we are at the Wild Center, national headquarters for Wild Ones. We're on the shore of Little Lake Butamore in east central Wisconsin. It's mid-October, and it's a perfect time to be talking about identifying and controlling buckthorn, a really horrible invasive plant that's very common to many communities. Buckthorn is non-native to Wisconsin and to the United States. It originated in Europe and was imported into the U.S. as an ornamental. It's been sold widely and is found in many states in the United States. It is spread easily. It's spread by the berries that it produces. Birds love them, birds pick them up, but unfortunately, the berries have an emetic effect which moves that seed, slips it right through the bird's GI tract, and the bird deposits those seeds everywhere. So it's very widespread. It's a threat to woodlands, it's a threat to edge areas, it's a threat to prairies, to grasslands of all sorts, and to many kinds of habitats, and has greatly colonized many areas. And so it's important to be able to control this invasive species. Another reason that we want to try and control buckthorn is that it has a super secret power. It has the power to wage chemical warfare on its neighbors. This plant actually secretes chemicals through the growing season that inhibits the growth and germination of most of the plants around it. That enables it to become a monoculture like you see around me, where we have this thicket of buckthorn and almost nothing else. Common buckthorn has some distinctive qualities that allow you to identify it fairly easily. You can see that this branch that I'm holding has relatively light gray bark. As the stems get older and larger, they do become darker gray, very dark gray. The other thing you can see on this stem is these horizontal light streaks that you might be able to see here, very light gray. Those are the lenticels. They're actually the structures that allow oxygen into the stem. Another distinguishing feature of this plant is the arrangement of its leaves. They are relatively opposite each other. You can see a stem here where these leaves are almost opposite each other. And you can also see at the base of this stem these little branches from last year opposite each other. One of the reasons buckthorn is called buckthorn is because of the thorns. These are actually short shoots, but they are very sharp pointed, making it really hard to grab onto this plant. The shape of the leaf is an oval, and you can see that the veins are curving upward toward the tips. Another good characteristic in identifying buckthorn. As buckthorn matures, it develops these black berries, berries that birds love to eat and to spread. This is late in the season, and so these buckthorn plants that we're seeing are getting ready to close up shop for the winter. Their leaves aren't as dark green and glossy as they will be in the middle of the summer. So these are looking a little bit peaked now as they're sending their nutrients again to their root system, meaning that it's prime time to begin to control these plants. One of the easiest ways to control buckthorn is to simply pull it out of the ground. I'm going to do it here with this relatively small plant, which is about the only kind you can do it by hand because they have an impressive root system. Here's the plant. There's a lot of the root system. In this heavy, wet clay soil that I'm in, part of the root system broke out, but it will be enough to kill this plant. Another way to pull out buckthorn larger stems is to use some equipment to help you lever them out of the ground. This is called an extractigator by the manufacturer, but I call it my buckthorn buster. So it has a clamp that I will fit around the base of the plant. And because again I'm on a soft soil, I'm using a board to support this. We'll see how well I do. Another method, and one that many people use for getting rid of buckthorn, is to cut the stems and treat them with an herbicide. I don't like using herbicides. I'd prefer to not have them on my property, but in some cases they make a lot of sense. And so I'm going to show you how you can use herbicides to get rid of buckthorn, but doing it in a way that minimizes the amount of herbicide that actually is out in the environment and having the most effect at the same time. So there are many chemicals that are approved for this use, to cut a stem and then treat that cut stump with an herbicide. You can check with your state extension to find out which kinds of materials would be approved. I've used several. One of them I've used is readily available in many places. It's Roundup, chemical named glyphosate, found in many kinds of products. You would use it full strength as it comes right out of the jar in order to paint right on the surface of a cut stem. Another one I've used is Tordon. It's also approved for this kind of usage, and there are others as well that you may find. So today we're going to use some Roundup to treat some cut stems of buckthorn here. So I will cut the stems first and then treat them within an hour. It's important to use safe procedures when you do this. These chemicals may have ill effects on humans. I always wear gloves. You should wear eyewear as well, protective eyewear, and be certain to wash your hands even if you've worn gloves after you're done with this. Here's a convenient system if you want to go walking around a property with herbicide used to treat cut stumps. Have an outside bucket, inside it layered with some newsprint so that the container doesn't flop around. Another container with a lid, and inside the chemical. I have a foam brush, the kind that you can get at any hardware store, and I'm just going to moisten the brush and dab it on the stems. Those plants are dead. They will be soon. This was a really good time to treat these buckthorn, all of it we've done today, because in the fall they are storing their nutrients ready to go dormant over the winter time, and this is getting them at the prime time when they're moving materials down into their root system. So these chemicals will move down there and kill that entire root system. So it's very good timing and a good idea that we could do this right now. So I hope that you have learned something from this and will be able to go out and bust some buckthorn.